Shut up and sit down.
Hello, everybody, from Tony Jabroni and Timmons to our downtown degenerates. You're listening to Very Opinionated and Slightly Educated. As always, I'm your host, Luca DeVigo, and with me is my good friend, Matt Campanella. Matt, how are we doing today?
Luca, I'm good. I hope you're staying out of trouble. You're staying safe inside quarantine. Week, I don't know, feels like week 8, but I hope you're staying safe out there.
Staying as safe as I can out at work. People are finally standing back. I've had to stop asking the question, can you please stand back 5 feet? People are actually understanding what social distancing means, so it's good. It's progression.
They're figuring it out now. It only took a little bit of time, but they're figuring it out.
Either way, let's not beat around the bush, Matt. Today, we got on a very anticipated guest. Coming to us live today is our good friend. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. Matterflow. Matterflow, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Luca. How are you today?
Doing very well. Staying inside, staying happy, keeping a positive attitude. What else can we really do right now?
First thing I think we should say is thank you to Matterflow for coming on and doing this. I know it's
thank you.
Ballsy of him to come on here and talk about obviously what we want to talk about and discuss. But hey, I do want to say thank you for doing that because hey, it takes a big man to come on here to talk about the things that you're preaching about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the chance to come up here and speak with you all about everything that's going on right now because shit's hectic.
It's crazy times. If we can all three of us agree on one thing, it is crazy times at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, You know what? We got to deal with it. We got to fight through it. But again, like I said, just want to say thank you for having you on here, man.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And anytime, man.
Awesome.
Oh, let's get right into it then. First things first, just for everybody. What would you say your main viewpoint of the current corona situation is? Like, what's your standing on it?
I think that right now it's being fabricated by different mini societies within the society as a general.
Okay.
As a whole.
Like different communities within society, you're saying?
Somewhat more specific.
Yeah.
But more within like the government and such. And I don't want to look like a person also that's gonna make a video right now about the government and what they're doing and such, because the government has a lot of people inside of their government that are just like you and I.
Yeah.
That are here, we're living, we're having an experience, trying to enjoy some stuff, and they're trying to fight this COVID-19 right now, right? To keep people healthy and continue society and continue structuring things, right? But I see that there is other things happening in between all that seem to be pushing other agendas within society as a whole that the society is not necessarily aware of.
Okay, you're not, just so people don't get confused, you're not denying that the coronavirus is happening. You're not denying that there is like a global outbreak. You're saying that the government is overblowing the situation.
Yes, 100%.
No, that's what
why do you
we should probably clarify that for our listeners here.
Yeah.
Obviously Matter is the person right now where he's taking his personal social media platform and he's educating and giving his opinion on the situation of COVID. You know what I mean?
Give us a shout out. What is the official Instagram handle that you're using?
Well, right now I'm using a subconsciously conscious 12.
Take it.
Awesome.
12. Make sure people follow.
And so, Matt, in your opinion, what does the government stand to gain from blowing up this pandemic? What do they get from it?
Control, power. The main two things they need to continue to establish their business.
Okay.
What business would that be?
Society, the whole world, governing. That's why it's the government, because they're governing everybody.
So you're saying that they want to keep the general public like under their foot, like under their control?
Yes, 100%.
Like, do you think that that's more of a control in terms of control what we think, or just control how we act?
If they control how we think, they control how we act.
So you think it goes hand in hand in that sense? You think it goes hand in hand?
100%. But one comes before the other. They do the psychological part first. Then if they have to, they take stringent measures.
We were talking about your Instagram there. Now, obviously, if people know who Matterflow is or subconsciously conscious, obviously, like I said before, they know that you use your Instagram as a platform to portray your opinion, portray your message, right? Now, do you say everything's positive, everything's negative? Do you think you get the point across? Do you think people listen to you? Like, what's the
goal?
What's the end goal of what's going on Instagram with what you're saying?
Well, the end goal is to spread the awareness of what the truth of everything is.
Okay.
So it's not about who knows more, who has more information, who's more intellectual than the other. It's more about just bringing that truth of what's actually happening.
It's not a pissing contest. So you're saying it's not a pissing contest.
Is there a specific truth you're trying to wake people up to, or do you just want people to be more conscious and more questioning of what's around them?
Well, not necessarily specific. There is specific truth within the physical world that we're living in that we can find that's not truthful to what they're showing us right now. But
can you give us a quick example?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you don't mind giving an example, not to put you on the spot.
Telling us the hospitals are full when they're not.
Okay.
And I went there myself to prove that.
So
when you went to the hospital, did you go just to emerge, or what section of the hospital did you actually get into?
That was a crazy
situation. We never actually went into any of them, into the actual hospital, but obviously there's windows all the way around the hospital, so we can see inside, right? And we walked around the entire perimeter of the hospital to see every single aspect. And we also talked to 4 different employees, and they were all security, basically. Oh, and one was a doctor.
Doctor of what? Did you get his what department he was in?
No, actually, we didn't want to ask specific questions because we also know that they have protocol, and there's a lot of things that they don't know, and there's a lot of things that they do know that they can't say. So and we're not going to waste our time and their time and make them feel ways by asking us, because then that makes us no better than the news going to use their tactics on people, very emotional tactics that put people on the spot to respond in a certain way to them.
You want them to respond naturally. You don't want to try and egg them on. You don't want to try and get them to say something that they wouldn't normally say and then frame it as
Matter.
Exactly.
You just said something there with the media that kind of perked my ears up. Do you think that the bigger issue is how media platforms are blowing this? I don't want to say blowing this out of proportion, but do you think how they're covering this from top to bottom and kind of scaring people with how they're doing their news tactics, or what?
Yes, absolutely. They're fear-mongering everybody.
Okay.
I actually very much agree with that. I think the media 100%.
Because that's something that if we have anything that we can agree on today, that's something that I can kind of get behind, because I think the media doesn't blow it out of proportion, but it for sure doesn't help. I don't think they're doing it as bad now, but initially it was really bad because all you used to hear, like, I remember at work hearing hourly updates, and there would be like hourly updates on the coronavirus outbreak, and it would constantly just be like how many new cases there were coming out of whatever country, how many new deaths. But not even that. The new deaths is what's crazy. They don't even. I can listen to the new cases all day. I don't mind. But it's the fact that every 20 minutes I'm getting an update on 20,000 people dying, 15,000 people dying.
That's the other thing.
That's crazy.
Numbers. That's the thing.
Go ahead. Talk to me about the numbers then. What do you feel about the numbers?
Well, the numbers, the curve, everything that they talk about, first of all, they're all made up, as in they're made up. Like, they made up the curve for these numbers.
Do you think they're actually
these numbers?
To give people a peace of mind? Do you think it's to give people a peace of mind, or what? Why would they make up these numbers?
It's to extend how long we quarantine.
Okay.
So you're saying they're not? You don't think they're actually testing? They're fabricating it all?
Oh no, they're testing. 100% they're testing. Like I said from the beginning, this is all real, right? Okay. This is happening. People are dying, and they are being claimed to be dying from COVID-19.
Okay.
But there's a lot of things happening within all of that.
Now, I think that's the biggest misunderstanding. Sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's the biggest misunderstanding for what I think you're trying to get your point across in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to see both ends of the spectrum here. I think that's the biggest disconnect of what you're trying to portray and how you're portraying it. I think people give you a hard time in that sense, and I mean that with all due respect. They give you a hard time. Yeah. People give you a hard time in the sense of, oh, this guy's a fucking whack. What's this guy talking about? This guy's a fucking whack job. What's he saying? No, you're just, the way you're portraying it, the way you're kind of giving the answer might not, there, people are only listening to bits and pieces of what they want to listen to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That-
everyone
that
kind of
happens a
only
lot.
gets everyone only gets a little bit of scattered information, and I feel like you can kind of blame where we live, specifically Bolton, because we are just so closed in. You'd probably know how many people in Bolton share your viewpoint, Matt.
There's a good amount, I'd say, like, that I know personally. I wouldn't say really share my viewpoint,
you don't have
because
to
there's
name
a lot of people these days don't even necessarily have viewpoint. A lot of people aren't very fixed into specific things. A lot of people are mutable, and they are able to just kind of bounce between different ideas. And that's an open-minded person, a free-spirited person. And a lot of the generation right now is like that. You see what I'm saying? So I'd say to people that actually think like me, I'd say maybe one. I'd say one.
Wow.
One for sure. And that one person is the person that I've been doing this with and researching this stuff with and finding things within ourselves with for years now.
Because that's what I was
Probably
going to
5
say.
years.
Matter. I
Pardon?
was just going to say, you must be, like, for people who think you're just taking this out of your own ass, this is a platform for you to say, like, you're doing research. You're not just fucking making this up on the side.
Dude, what I'm saying right now, all the stuff that I say on my platform, this is 5-6 years of been doing this. Like, it's not like I started this year because I saw COVID-19 and then I just made up a viewpoint. And then no, like, now I can say it in a way very quickly and off the top of my head without writing anything down, so it makes it look like that I'm saying it and making up things right off the bat. But I've been thinking and doing this stuff for a long time. So every day I'm looking at just simple things, even how the solar system works, how it influences us, because that's what it all leads back to anyways. The solar system, our sun, our moon.
Do you think it takes a little bit of a mental toll on you? Because for me, man, when I'm listening to the news, when I'm listening to all this stuff, when I'm doing the research, when I say a mental toll, like, I'm depressed. Like, I feel depressed when I listen to some of this shit. It's kind of like, I don't want to know. The less I know, the better sometimes.
Honestly, no.
Okay.
And that's only because of the way that I've reprogrammed my subconscious to be in the last 5-6 years of doing this.
No pun intended. Subconsciously conscious 12. There we go.
Well, your subconscious has programs that you had. And Bruce Lipton, that scientist, he dove into. I knew about him time ago, from 4 years ago. And what he spoke, the minute he spoke it, I can just feel and understand it instantly. Unlike, like, when it comes to school and stuff, when they were teaching physics, science, all that stuff, the way that they would teach it, I couldn't receive it that way. But because there's things that didn't make sense to me. And then as a kid, I was a little bit nervous to ask questions because of how they built the environment around schools and everything, which is a part of government and everything. Again, how they teach everybody, how we grew up, all that stuff, the influences of our environment from when we grew up, all of that stuff programs our subconscious, and then those programs repeat as we get older, and they manifest bigger scenarios and other scenarios that have to do with that programming from when you were a kid, even though you're not even in the same space or even timeline anymore. You're 22, 23 now, and you have the same programs from when you were 1, 2, 3 years old, 5, 6, and whoever was programming you. Now, most of us, it's our parents, right? And our parents are all solid people for the most part, but there's also other things from the actual environment itself, like the society. Then the internet came up right when we were all growing up, and we were watching things on YouTube, and we were being programmed by the news and stuff, by an actual screen that sends you numbers and pixels through it, which can be played to certain colors that actually can psychologically make certain synapses go off in your brain to make you think certain ways, to program your brain certain ways.
Listen, if anyone's listening to this podcast right now after that rant and they're high right now, that's the biggest trip I've ever. I'm right now just listening. That whole rant, holy shit! Never mind on that. That's a whole conversation for another. That's another podcast right there. Never mind.
Well, that's the thing too. A lot of what I've talked about is very broad, as in like it all connects. It's about.
Do you think that's what I think? You know, if
In general, it boils. It seems like a lot of what you've been talking about, a lot of what you've been research, links and is diving into the sort of psychological aspect of metaphysics and philosophy, and what actually affects our perception, what makes us believe the things we believe, are the things we're seeing really the way they are. Like I may look outside and see the sky as being light blue one day, but Matt may look at it and see it might be dark blue, and Matt might look at it and say it's gray.
I actually have a point on that, what you just said about the sky, because that's where it all started for me back then, taking pictures of the sky and seeing what it looks like. Yeah. And it also started with a little bit the Bible and stuff, because I started as a Catholic. That's what I was born into. So, and the stories.
No, wait. I'm going to interrupt you there. You started as a Catholic. You got to tell me what you finished as. What the fuck?
I haven't finished as anything because I haven't finished yet.
Where are you right now on your journey, would you say? Are you still Catholic practicing, or are you transitioning?
I agree with a lot of moral values from the Catholics and Christians, as in like
the Beatitudes and things like that.
Yes, and all that stuff, and then the testaments of the Bible and everything. There's some things in there that I agree that are righteous in the way that I live, that I can morally feel good and make other people feel good. But then there's just the Legion as a whole, because that's all it is. It's just a Legion. It's just been redone. That's why it's really good. So like, and a Legion is what you would think it is, like Illuminati and shit like that. It's a Legion. It's just a group of people that created a spiritual nature, that they brought energy to this realm where they were able to acquire a lot of people around them and get people to come to them and psychologically show them something. But then the sky, because that's what I originally was going to say, the sky, which is what they talk about in a lot of the stories, and the heavens and everything, it changed colors and stuff, and it was colorful and shit like that. And now that's what we see a lot of colorful skies. And then the blue sky, it's blue, but it's different blues all the way across. It's light blue, then it's dark blue, then it's almost like a purple, then it's dark blue again, then light blue and light blue.
Now to get us back on the train to fucking Jabronyville, Jabrony sense of COVID. Now with what you're saying, what something that interests me and what kind of spoke out to me, I'll be quite honest with you, and you can, if you're offended, I apologize, but I'll be dead honest. The one thing that stuck out to me was the whole government intelligence, kind of government interactions that you think are kind of going on with you. Like, you know, sometimes the sound goes missing or the sound changes.
That was crazy. That was the biggest one.
Or you have to go on your notes. Like I remember you going on your notes and you had to type it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like crazy shit like that. Now for me, being a big conspiracist, I fucking love that. So for me, I'm all over that. So I would like to know, like, not maybe why you think that, because obviously maybe it's self-explanatory, but why do you think that? Why you, out of all people? You think you're the only one speaking out about this kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Do you maybe think it's a blanket thing?
Yeah, maybe
it's a blanket thing. It's an algorithm. It's an algorithm, 100%. It's many different algorithms, because there are other people that I even watch that are even astrologers and stuff like that to have their points of views of what's happening in the solar system, how they're receiving the energies right now. All of these types of videos that I watch and stuff, they all get censored, and similar things happen to them, even while I'm watching their lives and stuff, because I watch a lot of lives on YouTube and such. And the ones that are pushed are through the news and everything that's about COVID-19 and about wearing masks and doing all this stuff. But then ones like that are about actually what's happening in the sky, the solar system. And a lot of people don't believe in astrology and stuff, but realistically, astrology is the planets and the sky.
Yeah, astrology is the study of the solar system and the mechanics of it.
That's it. So it's the exact same thing, and the elements and how each elements and modality of each element works with one another to build everything around here. So, and all that gets censored, everything. And then I say some certain things. The part that got censored yesterday, it made that weird, like demonic almost.
What were you talking about? Just for people that don't have you on the Instagram, what were you
talking about? It was on my Instagram story. I was talking about yesterday. I was actually near Zares, and I took a video of the social distancing line and how it was like all the way from Zares to Staples. And I was just speaking about how they made this happen and what numbers they used to utilize and other things. And then I started to speak about how it went into the States and how all of this is really strain from the states. The states are the ones everyone looks at. So whatever they do, we just follow. And plus, we have a lot less people here. So the way that the government handled it and everything was a lot more rock you to sleep way. Like, they gave us that money quickly. They did all this other stuff quickly. But then they still fearmonger and they do the other stuff. But what I basically said is I used Trump's name and I said a couple other things. I don't even remember exactly what I said. But I was talking along the lines of all the governments are the same government. They're all working together. There is no different governments, and there's no one government attacking another government. They're all the same shit.
That interests me, Matt. Sorry to interrupt you, but that interests me because for me, I find myself a little bit on the political fence in the sense of a little bit more Canadian, a little bit more American. Like in my house, American politics is number one. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. I barely know what's going on unless it's election time. I don't know what's happening in our own country, which is kind of on its own.
There's a reason for that, for sure.
My thing is, when you're saying, hey, none of these countries want to work separately, kind of thing. I think with what's going on down south, we should be fucking hella grateful that we're not living in a situation like that. Like I have family in the States, and you think it's backwards? You think we're behind the times here, or do you think we're not doing our part here? Go look at Florida today. Everyone's at the fucking beach.
Now that's interesting though, because San Francisco recently, San Francisco hospitals. I saw an interview recently with a chief doctor who manages a chain or a conglomerate, of 40 San Franciscan hospitals who are all expecting a surge of patients as testing ramped up.
Yeah.
However, because Californian cities, before even the state started locking stuff down, a lot of Californian cities started locking down. And so there's these 40 San Franciscan hospitals who all expected a very high number of COVID-19 cases, who set up these shock tents outside for extra patients and aren't actually needing them because the inflow of patients isn't as high, because California acted faster than states like New York, where you see in New York, they had to send in the military hospital carrier to house patients because they don't actually have enough space in New York to house patients of COVID and to actually help quarantine them on.
You got to think about it. New York.
But see, I saw other things from that. See, I have videos and stuff of people going to hospitals in New York and such, and I'm showing them completely empty and being nothing there.
Well, the reason why, and I was actually hoping we could loop back to this. I actually know quite a few people working in the medical field, and the reason why you actually can't see and this is actually a very good thing. The general public will never see how busy a hospital is. Most of these patients are going to be in a department of the hospital that's so far away from where the general public can access. The parts of the hospital right now that are dead are your emergency rooms, your pharmacies, and things like that. And that's and that goes hand in hand with what you're saying about how it could go hand in hand with how you're saying the government's trying to control us, because there's a lot less people that are going to emerge for every little thing. Like a lot of times when you go to an emergency room, you see people there for, oh, I was running and I fell and I think I might have sprained my ankle. Like
I got a lot of stuff
a lot of stuff they shouldn't be in emerge for. And so in a way, the emptiness in emerge is actually a very good thing, because we are seeing a lot of a reduced number of unnecessary cases. But I believe the COVID cases that are actually happening, they're happening in your palliative care. They're happening in your ICU. in your ICUs. Young cases are happening in your pediatric wards, and so that's why I believe you wouldn't be. And a lot of security aren't actually on those floors. Like mostly like a peds floor, you wouldn't have a lot of security.
They're outside. They're outside.
Yeah, so that's why it's the hospitals themselves are dead in terms of general public entering them. But my point was more reflecting on how the difference in reaction speeds. You said that in Ontario, dissimilar to the States, we sort of acted more quickly with the economic reimbursement and all this different stuff, where it was a similar situation down in California, where a lot of the cities acted quicker. And so you actually see like sort of like a misallocation of resources in terms of the actual numbers of patients that they got.
Yeah, there's that part 100%, but just the numbers in general, even that they're saying they've made the number.
That's where I wanted a question. Like one of the questions that I had to ask Matterflow was, me being ignorant, man, where do you get the fucking information? You know what I mean? For me, if it's not at the tip of my fingers, I have a hard time finding it. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So
You have
obviously some of it from the internet.
Okay.
Where do you tend to go? Like
100%.
what do you do?
What do you mean?
And what sources? Where do you go to find your sources?
Like I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence matter. I want to know. Okay, you know what? I listened to your thing. I'm listening to you on the pod here. I like what you're saying. Where can I go to educate myself? I'm not just gonna go start Googling on my own. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I do it in like two different kind of ways. So one, I take what I did actually in high school and everything, because a lot of what we did learn in there was truthful information and actually how things work here. It's just after that part.
No, I'm fucked. If they didn't teach me the right shit, I'm fucked going into the real world.
Yeah. But when it comes to numbers and math and stuff, that they taught you a system that they created, because the numbers are just frequencies, and other than that, they created that for you so that you can count currency.
Every equation's found and made by another person.
Exactly. But here's the thing. All the information's made by a person, as in it came from them. They made it up in their mind. So a lot of the information that I get is from the internet, yes. Mm-hmm. And there is, so that I can screen and see what actually is happening outside. I go outside, see what's happening in the sky, see the 5G towers, see all the other shit, and then meditation and other stuff. Sorry to interrupt you, but
just before I forget to bring it up, because I know we were talking about a lot today. That's another one I got to talk to you about, because the one thing that I haven't researched, I don't know anything about, are these 5G towers, and I hear people talking about it and going off about that's the reason.
Don't worry about them. They're not going to.
I got no idea. No, but I want to know what your thoughts are. That's why I'm here. If I have you here, I want to get your thoughts on it.
Okay, check this out. The 5G towers. Obviously, it's just the next generation of technology for our phones and for our computer systems, and new software programs able to hold more information and transfer more information and such, right? Mm-hmm. So that's basically what it is, but it's raising radiation levels. The radiation levels that it's raising won't generally affect the population or any of the people, because most of us even just have it like on our phones. Our phones already have that radiation coming out of it, and we've already been used to what's that around us. So that's just a little bit of a step up almost. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, and plus the elites that be who are creating this technology to do that, and to utilize it for their new control tactics and everything, they can't make something that's going to hurt them, and they're not going to make something that's going to hurt them, because they're still here with us. They're not. It's not like they're on another.
I know. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Sorry to cut you off, Matt.
Luke is getting fucking itchy over here. I see his.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Matt, but honestly, Matt, I'm actually very relieved and very refreshed to hear you say that, because it actually it kind of pisses me off a little bit about people in this 5G stuff, how they think like it's gonna erase our memories, or it's gonna start it's gonna start killing us.
That's a point. I heard that too. The erasing memories.
I see this stuff, and I truly wonder where people get it from. So it's actually very nice to hear you say that. It's very like raising of confidence that like you are doing at least some good research in your findings.
And I feel like frequencies work though at the same time, in radiation and such. And and the way that it would work for that, it wouldn't do that.
No, it's the frequency that it operates at. It doesn't. Old cell phones used to operate at a much more dangerous frequency than these 5G towers.
A much more unstable one that actually vibrated slower, so that and slower frequency connection was here. And then that's why it hurts you more, because the slower the vibration, the more physical it becomes.
Mm-hmm. I heard, sorry to interrupt you, but I heard something about how if it was the 5G towers were having an effect, you would see like a dust, like kind of like a faint dust in the air from like the metal particles. Now,
okay.
News I
that's
see
what it affects.
I don't know.
Yes, what you're saying, that's the chemtrails and stuff. So this is the other thing. Okay, so it doesn't directly hurt us or anything like that. And so all those. But
did what I say make sense? Did what I say make sense? Because I'm just telling you stupid shit that I come across.
Well, it needs to have something in the air to even have it. It needs to have metal particles in the air to allow for this newer technology to work, because it needs to conduct through something.
Okay.
So it needs to, so they dump chemtrails and stuff to do that, but then they can utilize it for other technologies, which it affects the weather and stuff. That's why it was just snowing and shit in April while it was still fucking.
Don't remind me, man. Come on, I was miserable.
I mean,
Those
come on.
days-
I
those-
have an April birthday. I'm going to be honest. I have an April birthday. Past 3, it's like mid-April. And past 3 years on my birthday, it snowed. This is
When's
the
your
first
birthday?
year in a while. April 12th.
Oh, happy belated.
Thank you very much.
Okay, don't give me that satisfaction. Fucking music shit. No one gives a shit.
No, trust. No, a lot of people
yeah.
I know that are actually born in April are saying the exact same thing. They're like, it's never snowed after my birthday. Never mind how the snow, it's just how it even snowed. The sun was out, there was no clouds there, and there was a cloud there, and then it was snowing. It was like, it was ridiculous. So this is what the 5G towers have the potential of doing, though, manipulating our weathers. So in turn, when that happens, that can harm us, because if people can't control their temperatures and know how to adapt to these types of changes, people will get sick and stuff quicker. They'll develop mucus and they'll create sickness within their body. So
I have a crazy question for you here.
We might actually have to make this the final question, though, Matt.
Yeah, I'm
just
looking at my
our
timer here.
time, yeah.
Let's end this off on kind of a funny, maybe like kind of controversial thing here. Matterflow. What is the craziest, if you want to call it a conspiracy, a belief, what do you think, if you were to tell me right now something that you believe in, something that you're kind of researching, that would make me go, what the fuck?
Blow my mind. Blow my mind. Blow the minds of our listeners. Let's go. What's the craziest?
And I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't have anything, don't worry about it.
No.
That's how I kind of want to end this thing.
I have something, but it's not necessarily based on research. It's more of what I've grasped from meditation.
Fair.
Go ahead.
Blow my mind.
So when it comes to where we live, this entire third dimension, and the universe as a whole, there's a mechanic to it, mechanics to it, and these mechanics are universal throughout all the different realms, including the Earth one, and then other places within the universe. And all of these different places, they work on that same mechanic, but work and present itself differently and experience that differently. But the mechanic of it's still the same, which is in term elements that create a realm. 4 elements, 5 elements, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way to 9. And those 1 to 9 numbers create every single place that we are in, including the universe, including the Earth. And the one way that you can really see that by being the last number, one, that it's the last number. After that, it's all loops. 10 is just 1, 0, which is just 1 again. 11 is just 1, 1, which is just 2 again. So it's just loops after that. 9, you can look up into the sky, or you can look at a flower and you can see the spiral of the 9, which is in term also the 6, which is the mirror of that, which is where above, as above, so below comes from, because it's the same thing as above, so below, just experiencing it differently. So I truly believe that everything is one but separate, and work together to harmonize to create a beauty, which is the universe. That's why it is a universe. It's uni, it's one, but it's verse. It's all of these different separate categories coming together to make one beautiful picture, which is why we can even separate it.
You know what? I don't think there's a better way to end off this conversation.
What the fuck moment, and you did what I told you to do plus more.
Oh,
that is for sure something to think about. I'll be looking at 9s and 6s for the rest of my life.
Hey, why do you think they
Matt,
look
I think you're looking at a
6,
few
9?
too many 9s and 6s.
No, I'm looking. Yeah, I'm a 6. My girlfriend's a 9. That's my only fucking. Those are the only 6s and 9s I'm looking at. But hey,
listen,
depends
you
who's
know
on
why
top
that
that
number?
night.
One more thing.
Give me that. No, let him finish. Why that number?
One more thing before we go, because it's funny you said that, the 9 and the 6 and the 9, and what the world has portrayed that as.
Well, you went on a little bit of a spiel, not to interrupt you. You went on a little bit of a spiel the other day with fucking 6s and 9s on your Instagram.
Yeah, because it doesn't end, the information about them. Each of them is just another frequency, which creates everything. So,
okay, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
The 6, 9, what they've turned it into now, which is just a sexual motion. 6 and 9 is just the merging of 2 energies. Literally, the sex is just a sacred energy exchange. That's
I'll be
all it
honest
is.
with you, Diaz, if I didn't like a fucking good 69 with female.
That's why we love it, bro. That's why
love that
guys.
shit,
That's why
man.
any being loves to do shit like that, because it's a conjoining of energies. It feels good. It's explosive.
Anyways, Diaz, like I said, man, you know what? It was a pleasure having you on. I hope you'd be more than willing to come on again.
Yeah.
Have a conversation, talk about it.
100%.
Definitely. It was,
And by all means, man, it was a pleasure having you on, and I really appreciate you coming on here, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for even bringing me on. Like when you guys messaged me, I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to talk to some guys I haven't talked to in a long time. We get to shoot shit.
Yeah, you know what? That's the thing. It's not even anything about what we talked about. It's just people having a conversation and getting educated on things that, hey, you know, fuck, half the shit that you talked about, I didn't hear about until now. You know what I mean? It's just people educating themselves.
That's it.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it, Luke. Again,
no, thank you very much. Thank you for indulging us, and
we'll talk soon.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, man.
For sure. We'll talk soon. Have a great day, guys.
I don't know about you, Matt, but I am exhausted after that. That was awesome.
If that wasn't the biggest trip and the biggest mind fuck you've ever experienced listening to a podcast, I want to know what is, because that was crazy.
Maybe it's just because it's me and you, but I had a lot of fun doing that.
I had a lot of fun as well. You know what? It was great to have the guy on, speak his mind about obviously his thoughts that a lot of people think are controversial. Sorry, but hey, it was a hell of an experience, and I hope people enjoy it too. Yeah,
nothing more than you could really ask for.
Nope.
As for today, I guess that's going to be us signing off. But just before we go, what do we got coming up?
I heard we got my good friend David P, possibly even David Squared. I don't want to jinx it though. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here.
Don't want to promise what we can't provide.
We got at least one David getting on the podcast. We're going to talk about some sports, how we're going 30 days almost without any sports going on. That's tough for us. And just kind of go over some new things that are happening during the week. Hopefully something exciting happens, because my life's been pretty boring for the past week or so. But yeah, we're going to talk about that and hopefully get some traction from there.
Sounds good to me.
Hey, remember to fucking subscribe, okay? For the love of God, people start subscribing to this. Okay?
Everyone like, subscribe, and follow. What's the Twitter handle, Matt?
V Opinionated, at V Opinionated. Hit it up, do some Twitter polls, and maybe we'll hook you up with a cheeseburger or two.
Well, as always, I'm Luca DeVigo.
I'm Matty Campanella. Much love.
Ciao. Later days.